welcome back to the Film Geek Halloween Special. And I have saved my personal favorite for last. Today I am spotlighting the 2013 film WNUF Halloween Special.
Good evening, boils and ghouls. Hope that Halloween candy is still flowing in your neighborhood and that those little gremlins haven't toilet papered your trees or soaped your windows. I'm Frank Stewart, and we're here in front of the infamous Weber House, where 20 years ago, Donald Weber killed his parents after consulting a supposedly demonic board game, a wooden spirit board he found in the attic of this very house.
WNUF Halloween Special is directed by Chris LaMartina and James Branscombe. It's also starring Paul Fahrenkopf, Leanna Chasmish, Richard Cutting, Brian St. Augustine, Helen Mary Ball, and Robert Long II. Things go sideways during the live broadcast of the WNUF Halloween Special. When filming WNUF, director Chris LaMartina wanted the film to look as closely to a 1980s taped broadcast as much as he possibly could. He knew that if he didn't, people would notice right away and it would immediately take them out of the film. He was able to achieve the look by filming on vintage stock tape, and the crew then made multiple copies of the film on several different VHS players to achieve a bootleg VHS copy look. To publicize the film, the crew left random VHS copies of the movie all over a VHS convention in Pennsylvania. They also drove around Baltimore, throwing copies out the window of a moving car in hopes of starting a whisper conversation about the film. WNUF was released October 18th, 2013, and I couldn't find any kind of solid financials on the film, like how much it grossed or anything like that, but the movie was made on an estimated $1,500 budget, which is absolutely amazing to me with how really authentic this film looks. So what do I like about this movie? This movie is the absolute perfect Halloween vibe, especially if you happen to have been a kid in the 80s, because this movie is such an absolute love letter to those weird local news station broadcasts that would happen on Halloween. Every year it would seem that your local news station, at least it did this in Kansas City also, would always have some kind of spooky thing. They would send out a reporter off to a haunted house and things would happen, so on and so forth. This was something that I absolutely looked forward to every Halloween when I would get home from my trick-or-treating, was checking out the nightly newscast to see what ghouls and goblins our local journalist found out there on the streets. The acting in this film is also absolutely perfect. These actors have this down to a T. I'm not sure if these guys were actual local broadcasters or not, but my God, each one of these actors nailed their roles absolutely perfectly. The one that really shines out of them all is Paul Fahrenkopf by far. He is the person who plays our local news reporter, the man in the field part. He is outstanding in the role, and from what I understand, he also the role was actually wrote for him, from what I understand. The filmmakers, I don't know what about him that made them want him to have this role so bad. Don't know that information, but I can tell you that the role was specifically wrote for him, and let's just say, yeah, he was the perfect guy for that part, and he did an outstanding job just driving home the authenticity of this film. That's another thing. It seems so freaking real, guys. They do this also while during the broadcast, it breaks down into these like fake commercials, and what they did was they got a hold of just a bunch of stock footage and threw together fake commercials, and they are perfect. They are absolutely perfect depictions of local business commercials that would be on in between, broadcasts that pop up, like here, for instance, here in Kansas City, one that I've always loved is Big Bob's Used Carpets. I think now it's just Big Bob's Carpet and Flooring, I believe, but back in the 80s, it was known as Big Bob's Used Carpets, because who doesn't want to buy used carpet, right? Well, apparently it worked out because the business is still around today, but he's not doing the used carpet thing. But that's the kind of stuff that you can expect from the local commercials, and they really help add so much authenticity. If you just allow yourself to sit there and fall into this film and just allow yourself to be taken away to the 1980s, my God, this movie can absolutely do it for you. And unfortunately, guys, this is where I have the bad news. I could not find this movie streaming anywhere. I Googled, I went to the site specifically and looked. The only one I didn't look at was Shudder, but I feel like they would have shown up when I Googled it. But I could not find this movie out there anywhere. I looked on YouTube, I couldn't find any copies uploaded to the site. So unfortunately, this is one that you're going to have to seek out the Blu-ray or the DVD. Now, the Blu-ray would probably be a little bit easier to get your hands on. Vinegar Syndrome just put out, and I don't know when they put it out, but they have a special edition Blu-ray that you can get your hands on. Otherwise, you're going to be searching for an out-of-print DVD to find this movie. So unfortunately, I got no good news on where you can find this film at this time. But ask around, maybe you got a friend out there that might have a copy of it. Alright guys, well that's all I have for you today. Happy Halloween! Enjoy yourselves out there. Don't eat so much candy that old Sweet Tooth shows up. You know who I'm talking about if you're in the know. Alright guys, well thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.